let's talk about making flexible work work. In a previous video, I shared tips on how to find out how your team is really doing when you're working in a remote world and you don't have all the cues that come with those in-person interactions. So if you missed that, watch that first, because in this video, I'm going to share what to do if they share that they are really struggling or share some difficult emotions they're experiencing. So first, what if you're in a one-to-one discussion and your team member shares some difficult things they're going through? The first thing you're going to want to do is just thank them for trusting you, for sharing so openly with you. Then you're going to want to listen and respond with empathy. Now, this listening is listening deeply. It is not listening with the intent to argue or share advice or anything like that. This is listening to really understand what this person is going through. And then your response with empathy might sound something like, wow, that sounds really challenging. I can feel the weight you're carrying. So you really want to try to understand how it feels to be in their situation. That's the empathy part. Now you're going to want to normalize their experience. So that might sound something like, this has been a really difficult year. You're not alone. Or I can understand how, given what you're going through, you would feel that way. We want them to know that there's no judgment in what they're going through. And then, depending on the situation, and especially if you're their leader, if this is a business-related, work-related challenge, you will want to shift into what we call coaching with compassion. Now, we have whole courses on this, so I won't go into the details, but it's really about the difference between empathy and compassion is about compassion being listening with empathy, responding with that empathy, but now shifting into asking some questions about what they can do to move themselves out of this, to move forward, and what support they need from you. So coach with compassion. Now, if it's personal, you may just ask how you can support them. If you work in an organization that has an employee assistance program, you may be able to share the information for that if they need some extra support. That's if you're dealing with individuals. Now let's take a look at what if you're in a group situation and you've done the excellent thing of creating space for people to share what they're going through when you know times are tough, and now they are sharing that some people are struggling. Start by thanking each person for sharing with the group and with you. You're going to maybe look for some themes. You might say, wow, it looks like a lot of us are experiencing some anxiety right now. Does anyone have any suggestions on what we can do to support each other? Encourage peer support. So I would encourage everyone to support their own well-being, to do something for themselves and their own self-care. And then also remember that everyone has challenges and we never know what's going on under the surface. And then ask, what can we do to support each other? Does anyone have any practices that they've found that could be helpful as we're going through these things? You may share some of your own strategies. Maybe you practice mindfulness or breath work or gratitude. So share some things that might work for you. And then I find it's often helpful to end with something like practicing gratitude. It is near impossible to be in anger or frustration or really some difficult sort of emotions and feel grateful at the same time. So once we've had a chance to really understand what we're feeling, label it, and see what everyone else is going through, then we can shift into an exercise like gratitude. So go around the room or the Zoom room and ask everyone just to share one small thing they're grateful for in the moment. And you'll find that that can often help to shift people and help them move forward as well. I hope these tips help.